Hey there fellow creators, Ben here from Cinder Studios, and this week I want to talk about inspiration, specifically how I was inspired to create this. Stick around. So this is my new painting, which I'm titling 1000 Tiny Lighthouses. Actually, that came out of a post I made on Instagram about this, I think last week. Really kind of a neat, interesting, different kind of piece that I've than a lot of the stuff I've done lately. So a bunch of little lights coming out of these rocks and reflecting on the ocean below. But what's interesting about this piece is this piece was very directly inspired from a video game. So for those of you unfamiliar, I am a huge gamer. I love games, not just because they're fun, but because I'm often very much inspired by them to create art. A recent game that I've kind of gotten into and have been playing obsessively for the past 6 months has been Nintendo's re-release of Xenoblade Chronicles called Definitive Edition. Here in this game, there is a place called Valak Mountain, which doesn't really look like much during the day. During the day, it's a big snowy field. Some of these big crystally things, wander around in the world. However, as soon as it becomes nighttime, everything changes. This snowy field and all these little lights, all these crystals have lights around them, and they all shine up endlessly into the sky. As soon as I saw this place, I was like, this is incredible, and I want to paint this. But not, of course, not exactly this. I don't want it to be fan art, but I want to do something with the idea of all of these lights shining up into the world. So sometime after that point, when I've been playing the game, of course, I was working in my sketchbook, and I sketched out this little composition. Pretty similar, a lot of lights showing up, but I'm like, you know what, let's do something different. Let's put it around water and make that just extra reflective, because I really wanted to play with this sort of mirror effect. And then back to the piece again, you can see that that is exactly what I played with. Now, one thing I do want to note, and this is actually really important with having any kind of inspiration, is that you pull enough of it that that it looks like that, but not so much that it looks exactly the same. It needs to be different enough to make it a unique piece in and of itself. So obviously I made this difference with the water, changing a lot of the colors, making things a lot darker, focusing a lot on blues and violets rather than the more glowy whiteness of the snow peaks. And then I gave it a little beach, of course, to put my 3 characters. Of course, since now I'm playing that game and being inspired by it, a lot of my figures are now pairs of 3 figures to reflect that experience. One thing I did have to do and actually come back to after I had signed the piece, because I went back and played the game and I was like, wait a minute, that glow comes not just from the top, which is how I had painted before, but a little bit more from the entire structure itself. So I actually brought a little bit of light back into some of those structures rather than having them being big, stark black or deep blue, I think is what they actually were, pillars. And so from there, kind of created this little piece, and I feel like I want to just touch on that and touch on how I can take an inspiration like that and transform that into a new piece. So that's just a quick little glimpse into the world of how I kind of create a lot of my compositions. Not everything is just like come up with it off the top of your head. A lot of times I'm going and exploring other people's worlds in order to better educate myself to create different worlds of my own. But what about you guys? What kind of direct inspiration have you taken to create sort of new and interesting pieces for yourself? Or has this idea of taking something from sort of another media inspired you to do something yourself? Regardless of your situation, let me know your thoughts and comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Get subscribed if you're not already. See my social links in the description box below. And this has Ben from Cinder Studios reminding you to keep on creating, and I will see you guys next time. And not nighttime in the snow, apparently. Hang on. There we go.